In this video, I'm going to show you how to build your first data product in Orchestra. So a data product is facilitated by a pipeline. A pipeline is just a series of tasks, and this is a very similar concept to EFLU. So the first thing you'll need to do is make sure your integrations are set up. In this case, I'm going for a very MDS approach. I'm going to ingest some salesforce data using fivetran, do some database replication using airbyte because it's generally a bit cheaper. Then I'm going to run some data transformations using dbt, and I'm going to be using dbt cloud here. And then I'm going to follow a sort of blue-green deployment pattern by executing a snowflake query where I can clone data from my dbt cloud. From my Snowflake staging environment to my prod environment. And then finally, I'll do some reverse ELT to push the working back to a Google Sheet. So I've already set these up. If you want to set these up, you click on connection and then pick a tool and then add in the connection name and whatever connection parameters are required. These are all listed here on the right. So if we head back to pipelines and go into new pipeline, let's call this an end-to-end data product. You now need to add a trigger. Typically go for cron. So let's do this at daily midnight. That looks a bit like this. The next scheduled runs will be tomorrow at midnight, today at midnight, Tuesday at midnight, Wednesday at midnight, and so on. Okay, so now we need to add our data ingestion tasks. So let's go ahead and add the database replication. I've got all the IDs handy, so I'll just copy that in here. You'll see that there are also some optional parameters. If you had multiple connections, you'd be able to select that, and that determines how you authenticate to airbyte. Now, rather than add the other ingestion task here, what we really want is we want to kick these off at the same time. So you can add the fivetran salesforce ingestion as another task in the task group. If there are different tasks in the same task group, then they'll be executed at the same time. If any of them fail, then whatever depends on it won't run. If you want to add another task in between two task groups, you just press this plus icon. And again, if you want to have another task group, then hit the three dots here, select add task group, and then you'll see if you wanted to run something else, perhaps you want to trigger something via HTTP or run a notebook in Databricks, you could do that here too. But we don't need that, so let's hit that and press delete. We're now going to add our dbt task. I'm just going to call this runTransformations. This is the ID. Okay, so this is going to push some data from Salesforce and my database into Snowflake, which is my engine. I'm then going to use dbt to run some basic transformations. I'll then add a Snowflake query to clone the sort of staging data into prod after all the data quality checks have passed. Equally, I could also have a special data quality check here, and it could be anything like select star from table where condition isn't satisfied, right? Something like that. And if you select this box, then very similar to dbt, any results that are returned will cause this test to fail. This is helpful if you don't want to define all of your tests in your dbt project, which can be a bit arduous. And now we're going to run our clone to production task, which is really important because it means that no bad data is ever sort of in production unless all of your upstream steps have passed. So we're going to say create table clone as select star from database dot staging schema dot table name, like so. You could obviously do this much more efficiently, but for the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to write this query. Cool. And now I'm going to run my reverse ELT, my sync ID, and that's really it. What's really powerful here is that if we go to sort of inspect this connection, this in our environment is an Orchestra user in Snowflake, and that Orchestra user is the only thing that has the rights to edit data in our Snowflake production environment. And having that pattern is really powerful because it means that the likelihood that anyone's updating any of our prod data in Snowflake is really low. They basically have to be like an account super admin. Because we're basically able to have this like data quality step where we know exactly what is influencing data in our prod environment. But yeah, that's kind of it. There are some helpful tips and tricks. So, adding a task group, which we already did. You can quite quickly clone this task group like that, which is helpful. As well as pressing delete, you can also just click on something and press the delete button. If you wanted to add another task here, you can delete these unnecessary task groups and add arbitrary dependencies like so. And yeah, this is how you build a pipeline in Orchestra. And this didn't take very long, but you still have a lot of the benefits of running a full sort of Airflow instance, and this is so much quicker. But yeah, let me know what you think about this in the comments. Is this a pattern you would use? What would you want to see? We've got lots of other integrations you can check out too. So yeah, just get in touch if you want to see more.